power, wealth, fear. These were the foundations of an empire that grew from the back alleys of Sicily to dominate the streets of America. Today, we unravel the story of the Mafia's meteoric rise and its inevitable fall, through the eyes of two of its most notorious figures, Al Capone and John Gotti. The roots of the Mafia stretch deep into the soil of Sicily, born from a need for protection against corrupt rulers and foreign invaders. By the late 1800s, this secret society became a force of its own, enforcing a code of silence, omertà, and thriving on extortion and smuggling. When Italian immigrants fled to the United States, they brought with them their culture, traditions, and the Mafia. In cities like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia, organized crime flourished. Prohibition provided the perfect storm for these criminals to amass power and wealth. Alphonse Al Capone was a product of these turbulent times. A Brooklyn-born street thug turned crime boss, Capone rose to prominence during Prohibition, ruling Chicago with an iron fist. Capone's empire was built on bootlegging, gambling, and bribery. By 1927, he was earning over $100 million a year, an astronomical sum at the time. But Capone was also ruthless. His name became synonymous with violence, most infamously in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929, where 7 rivals were gunned down in cold blood. Ironically, it wasn't murder or extortion that brought him down. In 1931, Capone was convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in prison. His reign was over, but his legend had just begun. While Capone's downfall marked a turning point, the Mafia continued to grow. By the mid-20th century, the 5 families of New York, Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese, formed a governing body known as the Commission. Spearheaded by Lucky Luciano, this organization created a structured hierarchy that minimized conflicts and maximized profits. The Mafia's reach extended into every corner of American life: labor unions, construction, and even politics. They were untouchable, until they weren't. In the 1980s, a new kind of mob boss captured the public's imagination: John Gotti, head of the Gambino crime family. Charming, flamboyant, and ruthless, Gotti earned the nickname the Teflon Don for his ability to avoid conviction. But behind the charisma lay a violent reign. Gotti orchestrated murders, extortion schemes, and racketeering operations. His most infamous act was the assassination of Paul Castellano, his own boss, outside a Manhattan steakhouse in 1985. The FBI, armed with new tools like wiretaps and the RICO Act, finally cornered Gotti. In 1992, his underboss, Sammy the Bull Gravano, turned state's evidence, leading to Gotti's conviction on murder and racketeering charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The convictions of Capone, Gotti, and countless other mobsters signaled the decline of the Mafia's grip on America. New laws, aggressive prosecutions, and betrayals from within dismantled the once powerful crime families. While organized crime still exists, it's a shadow of its former self. The rise and fall of the Mafia is a story of power, greed, and the consequences of living by the code of silence. What do you think was the Mafia's greatest mistake? Was it their violence, their greed, or the betrayal of their own? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most infamous crimes.